The latest in rally news from here and around the world. R2G Rally Radio.
Energy Trust Arena here in Palmerston North. We are waiting for the opening stage of this year's DAYBREAKER Rally. And we're praying that this rain stays off. It'll make things really interesting tomorrow, but it'll be really nice if it stayed dry this evening. Folks, we've got our top 5 seated drivers this evening sitting, waiting for proceedings to get underway, and we thought we'd grab a word with them for you. Who should we start with? Where should we start? Look, you all look so enthusiastic. Where's the biggest smile? No, I'm not going to start with Hayden Paddon, because that's normally where everyone starts. I'm going to start with the interloper, the man from Australia, Brendo, the solitary Aussie amongst the sea of Kiwis. How does it make you feel?
We're both foreigners here, so that's all right, Cole.
Yeah, but I'm Scottish, and I feel at home. I feel at home with the weather, and I feel at home with the people.
Yeah, I've done a lot of rallying here too, so I feel a little bit at home, but it's been a big gap between rallies, so I'm really excited to be here.
And it's a big weekend, isn't it? It's a wonderful rally for you to reacquaint yourself with four-wheel drive rallying, because it's been a while.
Yeah, I've been rallying my Datsun back in Australia. You've come along to some of those events, so super excited to be here in the R2G Hyundai. We did a short test the other day, and Hayden had a drive to show me how it works, and the car was really, really good. So the boys have prepared the car, just Amy and I got to get it to the finish.
Yeah, and your first event with Amy as well. The Hudsons are a bit of a co-driving dynasty here in New Zealand, and Amy's a top-level co-driver.
Yeah, our preparation's been really good together and really enjoying that. And then in the car, the pace notes worked well. I use a 1 to 10 system, 10 being flat out. So she had to adapt to that, and that worked well. So we'll see how it goes on the rally.
Is it going to stay dry?
I don't think so.
Nor do I. Best of luck, Brendo.
Thanks, mate.
Now, Bean, I love your hair. What's going on? What's going on with the mullet?
Well, I thought we'd better, get involved with this retro thing. So, ended up at the hairdresser at the right time.
Looks fabulous. It really does. It looks wonderful. Ben, you were here last year at the DAYBREAKER. Is it right you've won this event before?
Yeah, a long, long time ago. Probably when Richard was rallying, 2013, I think. But he probably broke down. But it's a cool rally, nice and twisty, and it's be a big change from the South Island.
What makes it such a special rally? Because, I was here for the first time last year. There's a massive amount of affection and loyalty for this event. What makes it so special?
I think probably the fact that it hasn't been, until last year. It was 10 years between events. So, it's probably, moving the rallies around gets everyone excited to go there again. But, we're looking forward to heading to some new stages tomorrow, and, hopefully it pisses down.
Well, as you say, if it's wet, shall we say, it suits your car. You've got a wonderful car this weekend, haven't you? The right car for these stages. It's quite nimble, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a lot different than the Subaru, but we're loving the car this year and loving driving it, and just not loving it so much when I get out of the car at the end of the weekend.
We're loving watching you and really very much looking forward to seeing you this weekend. Good luck.
Cheers, mate.
Now, the championship, the New Zealand Rally Championship, very finely poised indeed this year. And the man that's leading the way is not Hayden Paddon, it's Robbie Stokes. Robbie, what a year you are having. It's just great to see this level of competition this year.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, we're just keeping it on the road, not doing anything silly. A bit more than I can say for the previous years, just going in, out of the gates too fast. But we've, I guess you could say we've grown up a bit. And just enjoying the rallying and having a reliable car and being able to just,
You were telling me you woke up one morning this year and you had a moment, an interesting moment at one point. It was almost a moment of realisation. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what day it was, but woke up on the right side of the bed and just decided, I'm going to have a go at this championship, because I didn't actually know until Hayden wasn't at Otago that we could actually have a chance at this championship. So it's good to get a jump and have the points lead and be here as well.
I guess that changes maybe the strategy for this weekend, the way you approach this weekend. There's a huge importance on finishing and getting those points and taking it on to the final rounds.
Yeah, well, there's still pressure. We've got to get second everywhere, so we'll let Hayden go out front and do what he does, and hopefully come in close behind him and just enjoy it. I love rallying, so that's why we do it, and these roads are looking incredible. Look really flowy, but really tight and twisty as well, so it should be good fun.
Genuinely looking forward to seeing you out there. I've heard so much about your driving style. Can't wait to see you.
Yeah, I've reined it in a bit.
That's not so good to hear. Hayden Paddon, goodness me. I've been talking to you for many years now. Many years. When was your debut in the World Rally Championship? What year was that?
2007.
2007. I was there. It was on the North Island somewhere. Remember, was that the year that the motorbike boy, Valentino Rossi, was racing?
Yeah, no, he was 2006, so the year after we did it. And then, of course, we're in Wales Rally GB later in the year in 2007 as well.
Who was the driver whose steering wheel came off? Was that the same year, towards the end of the stage? You remember that, Emma? And Kiwi driver. And he came in at the end of the stage and he was literally steering his car with a column. Do you remember that?
No. You probably remember when Mark Tapper crashed when the guy had his
bared his bottom.
Yeah,
that was awful. Hayden, first of all, I want to congratulate you on that incredible victory just a week or so ago. You absolutely blew everyone out of the water. Did your pace surprise you there?
Yeah, it did. We weren't expecting that. We've had a bit of a tough year in the European Championship compared to what we were aiming for. So, yeah, to come away with a win in Wales was certainly was nice and puts us in a good place for the championship. But obviously, we still got to finish the job, and it's been a pretty tough season mentally. Just accepting 4th and 5th and 6th, which is not really what I like. But we sort of bit our tongue and just got on with the job.
I think what a lot of people don't realise is. Now, I don't want to say anything bad about the Hyundais because they're great cars, but the car you're driving is quite a long way behind the Skodas, the new generation Fiestas, and in particular the Yaris's. You look around the other championship, no one's got the pace out of that car that you have, and no one's got the consistency out of it that you have.
Look, the team have worked so hard. We work with an Italian team there, BRC, and they've worked so hard to get every bit of a performance out of this car. So we know we're on a little bit of a performance deficit, but that probably just motivates us more to dig deeper and try and, beat those odds.
And a great battle in the New Zealand Championship this year with the man sitting next to you. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's a close championship, so obviously an important rally this weekend, halfway through the season, a long way to go, and I'm just looking forward to rallying on the best roads in the world.
Really are the best roads in the world. I have to say, what we're watching now, folks, is something very, very special indeed. I've been around rallying for 20 years, and I've never seen organisers attempting anything as ambitious as this. 60 rally cars making their way in a convoy through the centre of Palmerston North, and it looks as if they've just about pulled this one off. Emma, it's just great. It's part of what makes this event so special. They like to do things differently here.
They do. I think, it's such a motorsport town, so they're really amping it up, and I think it's super cool having the stage here tonight, bringing the convoy through the centre of town on a Friday night, and then obviously tomorrow we're in Fielding for another signing opportunity. So, yeah, the organisers have done a great job.
Really have. And Emma, we're seeing you in the Citroen Rally 2 car again. It's taken a little while maybe to get that car to your liking, but you're feeling comfortable enough with it now to challenge the boys here?
Yeah, it's actually our first North Island outing in the car, so we haven't done a lot in it. It's 2 years now I've had the car, but haven't done many miles. So yeah, it's definitely my twistiest rally that I'll be doing tomorrow, so really looking forward to learning it.
Emma, I have to say you're blazing a trail for women in motorsport, particularly women in this part of the world in motorsport. But New Zealand seems to be a hotbed for rallying with women drivers, but maybe more importantly, women co-drivers. There are so many top-class female co-drivers in this part of the world. Why is that?
I think Kiwi women just have that can-do attitude. I think it's something to be very proud of. And 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗆 paved the way before me. She was our Group N champion here in New Zealand, and I think Kiwi girls just get on with it.
No, it's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, our top 5 seeds here at the Daybreaker Rally. Folks, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Best of luck. Go hard this weekend. Go safe. Well done, guys. So not long now, folks, until the first cars take to the stage. You're in for an absolute treat here this evening. It will be very special indeed. If you need any more information on tomorrow's stages, have a look on the Facebook page, the website. Just Google Daybreaker Rally, and there's plenty of action for you to see out there tomorrow. So I tell you what we might do, folks. We might go for a little wander here. Is this Richard? My friend Richard Mason. Who's this? Do you know what? This young man, I remember you when you were that size. Richard, it's great to see you back. Whoa, I nearly fell off there. What is it you're doing this weekend?
Oh, g'day. Well, we are the Zero Car this weekend. So we get to sweep the road, make sure that there's no one sort of wandering around on the roads and let the cars know that, let people know that the first car is coming.
It's a really responsible job.
It is, like we're taking bribes, we could put a rock out on the road in front of someone for them.
You're a bad man, you really are. And this young man is your lad?
Yes.
Fabulous. Caleb, I have met you before. You're wearing your mother's overalls. I met you when you were probably a couple of months old. You won't remember it.
No, grown a bit since then.
So obviously following in your mum and dad's footsteps, doing a little bit of co-driving, a little bit of driving maybe?
Yeah, well, I've been doing a few motorsport events lately and, having fun and stuff like that,
It's a lot of fun, isn't it? You get into motorsport, your dad will tell you, it's not like having a real job.
No, it's not.
It's the opposite of a real job. You pay to do it.
Well, that's very true indeed. Boys, go well this weekend. It is a very responsible job. Have a lot of fun. It's lovely to see you, young man, again, after so many years. Shall we go for a wander and see who else we might be able to pick up before our first cars take to the stage? As I say, you would not believe logistically just how difficult this is. The organisers have done a remarkable job from the square in the centre of Palmerston North. The traffic lights have been synced so that our convoy can come through in one pass. There might be one or two little frustrated commuters, but hey-ho, not too bothered about that, are we? Now, we talked about the Hudsons. There's, do you know what? I keep wanting to call you Lisa, but Lisa's your mum, isn't it? I'm very sorry. I'm about forgetting what your name is. It's Amy, isn't it?
Oh, Mum, she's up there.
Where's Mum?
Give it a wave.
Where's Dad? Now, looking at your overalls, they look fabulous on you. That's not your name.
No, but I will be for this weekend.
Fantastic. Looking forward to sitting next to Brendan. He's quite some pilot, isn't he?
Absolutely, talented driver, and it'll be a good weekend, good car, good team, good combo. So,
how difficult is it as a co-driver to adapt to the different styles of pace notes? We know that there are quite a number of different systems that drivers use, and Brendan was saying maybe you haven't used his system before. How difficult is that?
Yeah, there's one small change that Brendo uses over what I've normally used, which is definitely he helps with that in terms of calling it and writing it and just getting familiarised with that and getting out of the habit of what you're used to using. But overall, it's working well and looking forward for the rally. It should be pretty good then.
It'll be great to see you out there, Amy. Amy Hudson in car number 2. Her brother, where is he? Jared is in car number 1. Now, folks, you might be listening around the stadium here. You might also be listening on Rally Radio, which means our very own Lance Hasty is the man you'll be listening to this weekend. Lance, are you there?
I am, Colin. Wonderful to have you back in New Zealand, and also being the voice of Rally Radio a bit this weekend, a bit of a special bucket list item for you. Is he not?
Have you stopped talking, Lance? I can't hear a single word you're saying.
Are you surrounded by the exhaust note of the cars and unable to hear the wonderful sultry tones from the PA system? Welcome back, Colin. Thank you very much for introducing this lineup of cars we have here for the 2024 DAYBREAKER Rally, powered by Brian Green Properties. Interesting, we've got a bird's eye view up here looking at the traffic and the lack of congestion, but also magic to see the number of people just trickling on into the stadium and filling up. It certainly looks like the regulars are here. You know they've got the bird's eye view from their seats. They've got their favourite seat. Colin, who else have you got down there that's of interest and can fill in a bit of time until we get to the first car?
Righty-o, well, we'll go for a little wander and see which victims I might find. I'll tell you who I'm looking for. I'm looking for some of my Scottish friends. Where's Stewie Reid? Stuart, put your hand up, shout if you're here somewhere. I think all our cars are here. Where is Stewie Reid? Can't see him. Anyway, we'll find someone's... Malcolm Reid. Malcolm, you're a man who's done the same journey as me. You're a very, very busy man, and you're becoming a little bit of a YouTube sensation. Tell me about all those things.
Oh, where do we start? Yeah, so straight in from Greece from the WRC round last week. So, as you know, Colin, it was a little bit warmer there than here. So, but it's good to be here in Palmerston North, especially out here on the middle of the oval. This is quite a familiar spot for me. I quite like Palmy Speedway. Done a bit of racing around here, so it'll be quite cool tonight to do it in a rally car for a change.
Malky, you're a multi-talented boy. You're obviously a top top-line co-driver, co-driving for Emma this weekend. As I said, you're a bit of a YouTube sensation now with that M Sport series. But tell me about the job you do for M Sport. You're doing a number of the rounds of the World Rally Championship these days, a very responsible job. What is it you do there?
So I'm in charge of the reconnaissance department, so that's where the drivers go out and do their pace notes for the event. And at the world level, these guys have got to have nothing else to think about besides their driving and their pace notes. So we're to make sure the car's all tip-top, all their trip meters are working and bits and pieces like that. So all that responsibility falls on me. So, if the M Sport guys have a bad recce, it's basically due to something I've probably done wrong or my team. But besides the reconnaissance part, I'm then a mechanic on the World Rally cars as well. So, the services can get very busy when the guys want diff changes, brakes and things like that. So, it's thoroughly enjoyable, and it's taken us to all four corners of the globe.
No, it's wonderful. You're flying the Kiwi flag proudly all around the world. Did you get much time off?
Well, funny enough, the boss actually laughed when I said, I need a bit of time off. And he goes, what are you thinking? I'm going to go back home. And then when he found out for a rally, he goes, why don't you go to a bloody beach for a change?
Well, I was just going to ask which beach you'd been to. You have the most remarkable suntan. Where did you get that from working so hard?
It's called being in the sun in Greece. When you've got cars to prepare and it's 35 degrees, you tend to just strip off the old top layer and work away in the car park. So, it's not bad getting a suntan, but you come back here, you ain't going to get one today, are you?
No, we're not at all. Malky, great to see you. Best of luck this weekend. Now, we talked about young talents, and there's a lot of young talents in New Zealand rallying, and this young man, Zeal, I'm going to get your surname. Jones. Zeal Jones, I'm very sorry. Your name's on the side of your car and on your overalls. How could I have forgotten?
Yeah, exactly. Come on, Colin.
I put it down to jet lag. It's a terrible thing. Zeal, tell me, when did you start rallying? How long have you been rallying for?
This is only my third season, so we've progressed from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive in our Subaru last year, where we won the Rally Challenge Championship, and then we've stepped up to Category 1 this year in the 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗆. So small stepping stones, but a really good trajectory forward.
That's a big step up, though, to that car. It's just about, short of a World Rally car or Rally 1 car, it's just about as good as you can get.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit disappointing that the next step is Rally 1, but we've got a bit of work to get there, but we're definitely working towards it.
And the plan for this weekend?
Same as always, just keep it on the road, let the times come to us and let these boys do their thing, but just focus on ourselves as we always do, and that's the only way to get faster.
Fantastic stuff. Great to see you. Best of luck, young man. Now we'll go and pick on some of the youngsters. Bryn Jones. I've got that right, haven't I?
Yep.
Brynmore. Is that the full name?
Yep, that's my full name.
That's a Welsh name, right?
Yep.
Man, your dad's quite Welsh.
Very Welsh. He's from Brecon.
There you go. Talking to you earlier on, and you have got a baby face. You do look very young. But tell me, when did you start rallying? It was, 10 years ago?
Yep, 10 years ago at the age of 12, I was racing around a little Mark 1 Escort at a few of the local hill climbs and it's been a ball since then.
Tell me about the car you're in this weekend as well. It's a very decent car, gives you a chance in your class.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a Ford Fiesta Rally 4 that we bought from the UK off a fella called 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and it's been a remarkably great car, and hopefully we'll be able to repeat that win that we got last year.
Fantastic stuff. What about the roads? Tell, for maybe some of the folk around here who haven't been out into these roads, they don't know quite what to expect. What type of roads are we on this weekend? What do they look like?
Very busy roads, tight. As long as you keep the momentum up, it should be all right. But I can imagine we'll be in fifth gear for very long.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. Take it easy, boys. Have a great weekend, gentlemen. Best of luck. Now, where's Lance? Lance, I'm going to throw back to you for a minute or two.
Yes, hello, Colin. Thank you very much, and welcome to everyone to the Central Energy Trust Arena, the start of the DAYBREAKER Rally 2024, powered by Brian Green Properties. And very shortly, probably explain what's happening out there at the moment. The 00 and 0 car are lining up to test the track. The first time it's been run in this configuration, because obviously most people here are used to it in a speedway style. So this is going to be a little interesting as they take on this rally twist to the speedway course. They will be starting simultaneously on opposite sides of the track. They will take the first right to exit out the gate, the pit gate, and then out into the car park area around a small obstacle before returning to the circuit. One car will be going around that chicane of water-filled barriers, while the other car will jettison around to the other side. They will then complete the other obstacle and then come back round through for the flying finish. And obviously, as they start at the same time, you'll get a great indication on who is first through and who is the winner. It's not so much of the heat, but a actual time which will kick off the start of the rally. So these first two cars will be the warning cars through the stages tomorrow, and they get the privilege of testing all systems a go. And that is due to kick off in the next couple of minutes. The first two cars paired up will be Hayden Padden, Brendan Reeves at 6 o'clock. So 10 minutes away from having everything go live as people still are filtering on through. I would like to take this opportunity to thank a long list of people that have actually brought this event together. The Team Rally Race Group would like to thank Brian Green Properties, Harcourts AFC Motorcycles, who are the people backing this evening here, Geartech, Palmerston North City Council and the Central Energy Trust Arena, the Manawatu District Council and the 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗄 District Council, and also a special thanks to the residents of the roads who have allowed us, given us the permission to be able to use these for this event, to allow the DAYBREAKER Rally to run. Also special thanks to the Manawatu Car Club, 𝗥𝗱𝗆𝗆𝗆, who's been top person there of bringing all the marshals and volunteers together. Central ITM, PTS, Palmerston North Transport Solutions, that's Scott, Jack, Kirsten and the team. Traffic Safe NZ, Toyota Gazoo Racing New Zealand, iSign-It, Warren and the team. Freedom Print, Omni Graphics. And a special thanks to all of you for being here this evening as we get close to being underway for this first special stage of the DAYBREAKER Rally for 2024. But certainly what a sight to see the cars parked out there on the pitch. And just a little bit of a background there. Many of you being local will know that this venue is being used on Wednesday for an NPC match. So how nervous must the arena staff be that the pitch is left in a condition where they can have an NPC match. So watch this space, particularly with the changeable weather over the next 24 hours as we look to return and repeat tonight's stage again tomorrow afternoon, which will conclude the journey of 191 kilometres through the Manawatu and Rangitikei roads over toward up to Taihape and back down again tomorrow. And with as we count down to those last few minutes before those cars kick off, we'll introduce our next guest, co-commentator here, Lani McIsaac. He'll be fronting the Rally Radio tomorrow. She will be the anchor host for that. Lani, good evening. Welcome back to the Manawatu and DAYBREAKER Rally, the tradition.
Thank you, Lance. It's great to be here and to be part of this exciting event. It's fantastic to see those convoy of cars coming through the centre of town, Lance. I think in all of my years of rallying, I have never experienced or seen something quite so awesome as watching those cars come in. What did it take behind the scenes to get that through the line, Lance?
Well, that's a 𝗥𝗱𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆 question and also answer, and thank you very much to them for facilitating the traffic light sequence that got the cars here in super quick time. Also another thanks to Energy Plant Solutions, Dansco Design, McDonald's, Bulls, Fielding and Taihape. We've got a rally special running through them, so they're certainly worth a visit. And the community groups, Manchester Street School, Colleton School, Waituna West School, for also being part of the event. And we have Hayden Padden's car about to come up onto the start of the event, and the 0, 0 and 0 cars are away. Starting simultaneously. Who's first out the gate? It's Mr. Mason, the Ford Fiesta, out into the car park, taking a very wide line around the generously donated cable drums. So that was very quick. Well, that's a good start. He's actually taken the right way around the speedway track. We're waiting for his cohort 000 to be there. This is going to be very interesting, Lani. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's great to see Richard Mason, multiple New Zealand rally champion, back behind the wheel of a car, but he has significant time there on the 000 car that's all dressed up in its DAYBREAKER Rally livery, Lance.
It absolutely looks stunning, doesn't it? But as this is, he nearly sends it, so he is going to send it sideways. and nearly right round. The first time any car's been around here in this configuration, so it is all very new to the organisers to know if this is actually even going to work. So nothing like testing it in the red hot conditions of battle. And Mr. Mason heading out the gate for the last time around the barriers. And I don't think we're going to call this a dead heat, because it's not fair. The front wheel drive Fiesta is a few more years ahead technology-wise than the Starlet, but that Starlet absolutely looks the picture with its retro livery, the Daybreaker configuration. And we very nearly had a crossover there. That's going to be one to keep an eye out for when the battle gets underway. And very shortly, Mr. Padden and Mr. Reeves will be lining up on the line. Two Hyundais side by side. This will be a first in New Zealand rallying, having the two Hyundais side by side at a rally event.
Yeah, and it'll be also fantastic to see the brother-sister duo on the co-driver seat go head-to-head here. They both come from a rallying family, with Rocky and Lisa Hudson both being famous in the co-driver seat as well. But do you think they'll be going for bragging rights today, Lance, in this head-to-head?
Yes, it's an interesting one. You've got to wonder what the conversation is like around the dinner table, particularly as they get together on event. How much information is sharing goes on, or how much little ways they try and trick each other, because at the end of the day it is a competition and someone's got to win.
They're also celebrating their 50th rally this weekend. Both Jared and Amy Hudson, the co-driver, and those two cars there lining up, they're both hitting their 50th rally this weekend, which is an incredible achievement given that they're only in their early 20s, Lance.
Isn't it absolutely incredible? Absolutely incredible. The Hudsons are a name from many years back, and that carries on to the next generation is very, very special. We have Colin Clark lined up with another driver ready to tell a tale. We're waiting. We're looking for Colin. He's there somewhere. He's got a special driver lined up, and we know there's a bit of a story there. We're looking for where's Colin? Where is Colin? Someone point at Colin.
Thanks for that, Lance. Geez, didn't that look great, guys? Those were the Zero cars that we saw going around there, being driven with a degree of determination, weren't they? Not too long now till our number 1 and number 2 seated cars take to the stage. It is, I have to say, one of the most spectacular stadium stages that I have seen. It's going to be really exciting out there. Oh, hello. Hello. Little bingle already on the start ramp. It's just a little gentle nudge between two cars. Where's my friend Tim Smith gone to? Tim, where have you disappeared off to? We'll just grab this chance. We've got a minute or two to talk to Tim. Tim, this is my favourite car. My favourite, how do you guys call them? Subarus.
Subaru, yeah, Subaru. Yeah.
Subaru, we call them. It's a fabulous looking car. It is a 4-door. I thought it was a 2-door. It's the 4-door Subaru. There's a story though. Possum Born, one of New Zealand. Oh! Car's warming up. I tell you what, just tell us very quickly the story about your headlights and Possum Born.
Well, they're actually Possum's lights. They're genuinely Possum's lights. I was lucky to get given them by Stu Webber, and I got to use them at Southern Lights Rally a couple of months back, and they were so good. So, got to use them again. So that'll be interesting to have a go at them tomorrow morning.
That's fantastic stuff. Now, what the guys are doing here, just warming up the brakes and the tyres, putting a little bit of heat into the systems before they take to the stage. I'm excited for this one. Lance, it's going to be a cracking spectacle.
Absolutely, Colin, and we're very interested to hear your learned perspective on what you think of this, the outcome afterward. We'll have a bit of a kitchen table chat, perhaps, on how this does look. 2 cars at a time on a super special stage isn't so much new, but in this configuration is, particularly here in New Zealand in this format. But we are moments away, literally, from the first 2 cars officially kicking off the Daybreaker Rally 2024, powered by Brian Green Properties. And you touched on there, Colin, there are a lot of very special stories out there. That Subaru that you actually mentioned, there are a few other special parts on that car that fit with the retro theme, but also have some real rally history to them. So a bit of a journey to actually get that car here and be part of the picture. But we will find any second now, we're counting down to the final few seconds, Hayden Padden Brendan Reeves head-to-head, the start of the Daybreaker Rally, as they will get lined up onto the beam. Watch for the lights or the anticipation. What's going on here? What's going on here? Well, we have one car out, and if you look at the big screen, you will see the drone footage. That's George from Inspire You Media, who's providing that, and he will be flying, obviously flying behind the car, and that's part of some additional coverage that we can provide for the fans to actually be part of the overall experience. And it looks like we've had a little bit of a mix-up here. Perhaps someone jumped the start. Mr. Reeves has made a little bit of a case for this visit to the judiciary, do you think, Lani?
I'm not sure. I think it's hard to say, given that we are running this sort of super special for the first time here in New Zealand. I hope they'll just restart and get back into it, Lance. There's a fair few questions flying around how this does actually play out. We really do hope that they can just push the reset on that, and this all starts again. Call that a practice, because at the end of the day, there's a lot to lose and nothing to gain from this stage. It is a spectacle. It is about taking the event to the fans, and we really thank you for being here this evening. It is magical to see so many people filling the venue here at the Central Energy Trust Arena. We look at the skies, and we've also got everything we've got to of cross that the weather will hold, and the spectacle will continue. But it looks like we are in for a reset, so there will be a knock-on effect with the timing there, as far as everything's going to be starting just a little bit later. We'd like to think that we have seconds until we start again. And on the obviously, as the cars come over the ramp and into the staging area, they are paired up. That will be the running order for this evening. And with the running of the Super Special stage tomorrow, the plan is that the car that starts on one side tonight will get to start on the opposite side tomorrow, so that anyone that claims an advantage is given the same opportunity on the other side for the supposed disadvantage. But Lani, as you see out there now, is there anything that you think is going to change the way this event unfolds? The perhaps the heat of the moment got to Mr. Reeves. What do you think that's going to do to his mindset when it comes to the whole overall event and his reason for being here? Yeah, well, I know this is Brendan Reeves' first forward. It looks like we're about to get underway, folks. We can hear those cars revving. And they'll be given a 5-second...
He's got his drone right in behind Hayden's car, flying straight in behind. Let's just see who is first through the gate this time. Now, again, Hayden. We said there is nothing to gain and a whole lot to lose.
Yes, this Harcourts AFC Super Special stage at Central Energy Trust Arena will be tight. You certainly won't win the rally here, Lance, but you could certainly lose it if you get it wrong.
Absolutely, and looking at the spray of the speedway surface, I tell you, this time yesterday would be very much doubting that this was going to happen. Very spectacular to see this amount of the dust that's coming off the track, given how much rain. And interesting that too, there's still some damp patches in there, so the surface is going to be very, very changeable. It's going to be very difficult to judge, and again, why it's so important that they get a clean run through here. Absolutely everything to lose, nothing to gain.
It certainly looks like, if you're on the grandstand side of this arena here, Lance, that you will get the slight time advantage going into that first tight turn, but certainly by the time they've been around a couple of times, it certainly seems to be evening out. I'm expecting this to be close.
Well, absolutely, you'd expect this to be close, and you've got to also expect to say that the potentially more spectacular view is from the grandstand side. When you look at the flames that are shooting out there, you get some great contrast. But as they come through the obstacle for the last time, who and how can you call this as a finish? It is actually going to be rather close. And our first car is obviously Hayden through by a reasonable margin. And we'll be looking forward to those first official times to actually start the rally. But what a way to actually kick the event off.
Yes, what a fantastic way to kick off the Daybreaker Rally, brought to you by Brian Green Properties. It's great to see so many locals out here supporting the event as well. And hopefully that dust doesn't get too bad, although I hope you guys brought some clear glasses or sunglasses to the event tonight.
Yeah, so we're just waiting for the first lot of times to come through. So car 1, a time of 1 minute 36.87 seconds. You'll be asking, well, what's Mr. Reeves' time? 1 minute 39. Are we going to call it? Or we just leave everyone in suspense for a little bit longer?
Now, the two cars lining up are actually 1 point difference in the New Zealand Rally Championship. So Robbie Stokes there over on the far side in the Ford is only 1 point ahead of Ben Hunt here in the Skoda. With co-driver Tony Rawstron, Lance.
Yes, and that's where we have a story within a story. We have Hayden Padden here as the defending rally winner, defending rally champion. We have Brendan Reeves here, who has been a winner of a round of the New Zealand Rally Championship. But we also have the Rally Championship itself with 1 point between these two, as you point out, between Robbie, who is leading, and Ben, a former champion, who is actually 1 second behind. So these two have a very special focus and a lot to gain. It's really going to be a case of, it's Robbie's first time here. He's got some catching up to do, you could perhaps say, but that's where the games start to come out, and favouritism as far as the psychological battle between them. Is it age over youth? We're going to find out shortly as you'll hear the launch control come on, the revs come up as they get ready to launch off the line. Here we go. And interesting.
Very even start there, Lance.
Would have almost said Mr. Stokes got perhaps a slightly better start. So that's Robbie and Ali Mackay in the co-driver seat this weekend. Robbie from Waikuku back onto the track. Ooh. You've got to expect that they have it under control, even though it doesn't look like they do. And also the time split between them is one exit the track and one joins just under the grandstand here in front of us. Seems to be a lot more even now, so there isn't the concern as there going to be an underlap or overlap. As Ben Hunt takes to the cable reels, round he goes. Robbie Stokes through the chicane. Ben's back on the track. Robbie's round for his second lap. Drone hard up the exhaust pipe. He's going to get lost in the dust. Spectacular footage coming out of the FPV drone to the big screen. As he chases Ben Hunt out into the back of the arena and round what is actually a generator plant up the back of the stadium. Up over the barrier as he goes. Following Ben, Robbie back out round the back of the stadium to go around that same generator plant. And Ben, oh yes, nice and tidy through there. You got to wonder what's going through their mind. That fence is very unforgiving. Plenty of speedway cars have tried to give it a nudge. Ben back onto the track for the last time. Robbie coming around. This is going to be super close.
Ooh.
Ben Hunt by a gnat's whisker. Do you reckon a gnat's whisker is an accurate way of describing it?
I'm not sure I've heard that one before, Lance. But yes, it was very, very close. We will be getting the times through very shortly. But I wouldn't want to call that one, actually, Lance. I feel like that was quite close.
Yes, and we will actually be giving you times as they come to hand. We have the first two cars pending and the following cars, and as this falls into a sequence. So the car 3, Ben Hunt in a time of 1 minute 42.81.
And Robbie Stokes with a time of 1 minute 43 seconds, Lance. So only 1 second between those two championship contenders.
What an incredible way to start the rally when you've got 1 second between them.
And now we have 𝗥𝗱𝗆𝗆 lining up here under the grandstand, who unfortunately missed the Daybreaker Rally last year. So this is actually her first time on the event.
It's been quite a few years since Emma was here. The Suzuki was, her Suzuki days was the last time she drove these roads. But she made the comment earlier about the changing direction of them. In other words, it was going to be very busy behind the steering wheel, which really will suit the R5 Citroen that she is using this year. So she is going to certainly find her feet in her car at this event this weekend. So we're really looking forward to seeing what Emma puts on. She has been looking to get some quality stage time and time in the seat in that car and get really up to speed. So we're moments away from the start, and we potentially have Colin Clark. Who have you got over there, Colin? No, we may not have Colin there right at the moment. He's looking for someone. He's trying to line someone up. Okay. No, he hasn't. They've gotten away from him. It's always a cat and mouse game out there. And we're about to start. Oh, yes. Yeah, that was interesting. So that's Zeal Jones. He's certainly got a better start.
Do you think Malcolm Reid in the co-driver seat with Emma is giving Emma a few pointers about how he might take his stock car around this track?
Well, now that's a very fair question, and that reminded me, yes, Malcolm has actually spent some time going around this track in a stock car, so he's had a lot of life experiences when it comes to different roles, Speedway being one of them. So as far as the line, well, the Speedway cars have a very different way of getting around the circuit, and you can probably see by the marks in the concrete that there's it gets used a lot.
Yes, and Zeal Jones here in the 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗍 for the first time this year. Last year he won the New Zealand Rally Championship challenge class in a Subaru. So it's great to see him stepping up into the Skoda as he takes that exit, off track really well, and he scoots around that hairpin. But it'll be a close one here too, I think, Lance. Although yes. I think Zeal has the slight upper edge.
Yes, but again, could that be youth over experience? Because again, there's so much to lose here. And for Emma, she has come a long way after missing out last year. There is nothing going to get in the way of her actually bringing her new favourite steed to this event on these roads that she has long since favoured and being busy behind the wheel tomorrow. So they come back round and onto the track for what will be the last time. This is going to be a clear one. This is going to be Zeal, but not by a whole lot. And we're going to be talking only a couple of seconds. We do have Colin lined up ready. Colin, who have you got over there?
How sensational is this? I tell you what, I don't know where to look. It is just quite incredible to see these cars doing such wonderful things out on what is a relatively short stage. Just finding one or two drivers and co-drivers here with Sarah Faulkner. Sarah, you were with the young Jack this weekend.
That's correct.
Part of the Stokes dynasty. There's plenty of them, isn't there?
Yeah, the apples sure haven't fallen far from the trees, that's for sure.
Listen, you've had a little chance before you go into this stage to have a look. What do you make of it?
Quite incredible, actually. It's different to what it looked like when we walked around it the other day, so quite exciting, actually. Glad there hasn't been too much rain to make it really slippy, but really looking forward to getting out there and putting on a show.
Yeah, it's a bit different for you guys, isn't it? Because when wrecked the stage, when you went to have a look at it, normally you do it in your cars. This time you did it on foot, is that right?
Yeah, correct. We had to walk around the arena and sort of try and work out angles, and those concrete walls don't move at all, so you've got to be aware of those.
Fantastic stuff, Sarah. Best of luck this weekend. Back to you, Lance.
Yeah, thank you, Colin. And on the start line we have Hayden McKenzie and Stuart Reid. Stuart from Australia.
Well, kind of from Australia, right?
Well,
he lives there now, but
he does. Well, that's a very fair point. Yes, the Kiwi, the Australian Kiwi. There's plenty of them around. Hayden in his nice Yaris. He has been in the championship, chasing for that contention, but he's actually back here this weekend for a chance to actually take that Nice little Yaris for a blast through the Manawatu roads. But he and Stuart Reid are about to kick off onto the start line. Interesting to see. Hayden's got his lights on the roof of the car. As to any advantage that he may have. And up comes the launch control, and we're about to kick off. Would you call that advantage, Hayden, for that one, Lani? Yes, let's call that an advantage, Hayden, for the start there. Hayden McKenzie first off the line, but still, keep hammering home that same comment. Everything. Oh, yes.
He's just kissed the wall there.
He's just tapped it. That's not a way to actually test the componentry on the car. Let's just hope that's done nothing to the alignment. It will have done something to his confidence, that's for sure, because Stuart Reid knows what's at stake here. And it's well, actually, I wouldn't have said it was a clean entry back onto the circuit either. Maybe it has done something to the alignment, but we won't give him the commentator's kiss right at this stage. Hayden certainly is nice and tidy as he exits the stage for the second time. And yes, I was actually going to say Stuart got the exit out into the car park nice and tidy, but then it started to step out on him. So we'll just get to see as he comes past. The wheel did look okay, but is there some slight alignment in there? George is in there with the drone. Everything looks okay. And it turned in under brakes okay, so let's hope that he is all right. The cars, as they exit from here, will be going into service. So that's going to give the crew something to do as they quickly check that over. The Stuart Reid car, part of the Hayden Padden package as far as cars that get looked after. Interesting is the Hayden McKenzie came back onto the stage here.
And he kissed a no cut there on the outside of that corner, on the inside of that corner over there. He kind of kissed that just as he came out of that exit the last time. So I wonder if that will impact him at all.
Yes, it's been interesting. I was just going to make the comment in there that it looked a bit soft as he turned in there. And it really does highlight that the changeable surface conditions. And when they did their reconnaissance of the stage earlier, it was a walking one. And you won't see what those changeable conditions were. Probably for those that were here yesterday that have actually seen how soft it was, would know that it was dry up high and very damp down low on the pole line. But as for what it's like underneath as they start to scrub through that top layer into the base,
yes,
they would have never known when they were walking that yesterday.
And it looks like that little kiss on the wall by Stuart Reid has cost him a couple of seconds with the time. So car 8, Hayden McKenzie, had a time of 1:45 and Stuart had a time of 1:48. So there's about 3 seconds there that he's lost over the course of that stage, Lance.
Well, I'd rather lose 3 seconds here than be stuck on the infield with some damage to the car. So I'll call that well, what would you call it? A get-out-of-jail-free card. I'd cash that one in. And up on the line here now we have Andrew Graves from Gore and Queenstown's Caleb McDonald. So the Mitsubishis are back. A head-to-head Mitsubishi battle.
Yeah, and Andrew was talking about how different the roads here in the Manawatu and Ōrangatikia are compared to his hometown of Southland, where we've just come from.
Yes, that's right, and the open, fast-flowing of those Southland roads, those roads he knows so well around the Gore region when he was there for the Southern Lights Rally that 3 months ago. But equally, these two guys have been performing very, very well this season. This will be an interesting one this weekend, how they go on these Daybreaker roads. The Mitsubishi cars always do well here, and these guys are also no rookies when it comes to being behind the wheel. They will be definitely keeping the locals and the championship competitors honest.
Absolutely. It's also great to see that Hayden Graves, Andrew's son, is in the co-driver seat as well, coming up all the way up from Southland, as car 11 makes its way into the second loop.
Yes, the Graves father and son team, and they've really been embracing the retro theme. For those that have seen the bright red locks that they have been parading around in. And speaking of parading around in, for those that were down in the square earlier for the Meet the Drivers session, Hayden Padden had some rather interesting hairdo on. By the sounds of it, it wasn't his favourite choice of outfit, but he certainly wore it well.
Oh dear.
That's certainly a nice little overshoot there by Mr. Graves. Still, I'd rather pull it up on the track than let it get away and use the wall to slow you down. Losing that couple of seconds there is a far better option than risking it all.
You can
the barrier.
Yes, you can see that Andrew has lost quite a bit of time by that little hiccup there as he went to enter the second loop.
Yes, he'll be annoyed, but having said all of that, it's a case of that experience and the psychological impact that will have on him. I'm sure it won't. I'm sure he will just brush that off and say, well, I was lucky. We got away with it. We found the grip limit. We won't do that again. We will just go for the finish. And yes, that was certainly an interesting one. He's now tapped the anti-cut device, and it has been just given a little tipsy over, which we've got to hope that they are paying attention to that, because hitting those blocks will do some damage to the car.
Indeed, and Andrew is actually an accomplished co-driver here at the Daybreaker Rally. He's done this rally before as a co-driver, but never as a driver, Lance. So he was talking about how different the roads were, and so I'm sure he'll be happy to get away with that slight hiccup that he had.
Yes, again, experience, and that's what will get you there in the end, and that's what's going to make it very interesting for the championship battle, the Robbie Stokes versus Ben Hunt. You have that youth and experience. Now, this is going to be a very interesting one. Two rather interesting cars. We have the Mitsubishi Evo 7 of local Jeff Argyle and Fielding's 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗆 versus the Canterbury lad Tim Smith in the H6 Impreza. And Ben Trevelyan he's sitting alongside Tim this weekend. Tim's been waiting to get this car up to the North Island for so long. He's got those Possumbourne lights on. He's also got a Neil Allport Mazda 323 steering wheel. There's a bit of a story behind that we will dig out during the weekend. But Jeff in the Mitsubishi Evo, he obviously knows these roads so well. He's been driving here. This event is where his driving career started way back in the early 1980s, 84 I think it was, we worked out in the Datsun 1600, where his first event he actually finished 4th overall. But that was back in the day when two-wheel drive was king. He's now certainly a king in the four-wheel drive, and he's taken the Mitsubishi flag to multiple championship wins. And he proved again last year that time out of the seat, the experience still does count for a lot. As we get ready to launch, up come the revs. Subaru versus Mitsubishi.
Jeff Argyle looked really strong off the line there. He seemed to have a lot more grip than Tim did getting off the line.
He absolutely had an absolute cracking start compared to Tim, but very cautious through that first turn, which again is that bit of an experience. But Tim's made a very clean exit and entry return to the circuit. Very clean, and Tim hasn't done a lot of four-wheel drive, but this car is a real passion project of his. He's poured more than his heart and soul into building this car, and he not only does he drive it like he stole it, he also drives it like he owns it. And there's Jeff Argyle getting every which way to try and get round. Oh, I've got to say he was close to those barriers there. As he returns to the circuit, Tim round the chicane on the opposite side, and they come round for their opposite side of the track, and he's back out the horse gate.
Jeff a lot more confident that time round, getting a bit more of the car out sideways as he entered. Which
surprises me, because again, Jeff, he had the intention to do very well this weekend at this event. Being hometown, knowing these roads, he wants to put on a good show. So I would be very surprised if he was actually that flamboyant this early on. A very clean entry exit by Tim Smith through the gate, whereas Jeff, Yes, he really is throwing the car around, like literally throwing the car around. That FPV drone really is telling the story when it comes to how far he's going. And almost going to say he got that anti-cut block. That was a very clear win by 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗍𝗍 there. That entry back onto the track over from the main pit gate, that anti-cut block is it's an obstacle, clearly.
Yes. While we get the next cars up onto the line, which is James McDonald from Canterbury in car number 14, and 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗍𝗍 in car number 15 from Bay of Plenty.
And Jay in the 555 livery car. Jay earlier this year at the Southern Lights Rally said that the Daybreaker was the one he was really looking forward to. He had such a big smile on his face after Southern Lights that he wanted to make the Daybreaker the next one to keep that smile. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he goes this weekend. The car looks absolutely stunning. The team overalls always look the part too. They're a couple of characters in the car, and it's a Subaru versus Subaru battle, which is always a good one.
100%. And that car 14 down there with the Shell Helix livery was actually driven by Molly Taylor from Australia in the last rally, wasn't it, Lance?
Could have been. It looks like it would like to have been. It is actually his own car. We were actually looking to get a Castrol Ambassador into that Molly car here for this weekend. Didn't quite stick. We were looking to have quite a nice name added to the field here this weekend in that Impreza, the Castrol Impreza that Molly used at the Southern Lights, just to add a little bit of interest and additional flamboyancy to this event. But again, as always, seconds away from the start of these two cars across the line. As we try and keep track of the timings. A very cautious start by the two of them. Very smooth. Very, very... No, can't go that way. 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗍𝗍's spun up as he goes round the cable drums. Again, he took the smart option there. He just let it come round, backed up a little bit, got himself back underway again. And there, as he enters the gate, yes, he's actually trying to pivot the car on the track, and almost Group A style. As they've figured out, if it goes wrong, it's the end of a very... Oh. I think there's a bit of commentator's curse going on here. The cable drum has just caught out Mr. McDonald in the Impreza. So maybe silence is golden for these boys. We absolutely don't want to give the commentator's kiss to them when they've come so far to be here and be part of this event.
Indeed, it looks like it's closer despite that slight mishap, Lance. It looks like it's still relatively close out there with both cars kind of still in sync with each other.
Yes, I'd actually almost say they've had an equal oops on that same side of the circuit / track. If we actually give it some definition, they won't know that, but it does very much look like it's going to be a very even heat, or even stage here as they enter and come back round. Or we're going to coin toss on who's going to get through first.
Oh, looks like car 14, James McDonald, got that very slightly.
Did get it. Did it get it by a comfortable margin, but it certainly does go to show that there is so much at stake here.
Indeed. Well, while we wait for those times, we're getting the next two cars lined up. Car number 16, Phil Macquarie from Papamoa, and car 17, Gavin Feast from Mount Maunganui as well. Oh, two Bay of Plenty locals going head-to-head in this battle, Lance.
Yes, it's certainly interesting as you look through the entry list, not only from up and down the country, but the mix of driver, co-driver, where they come from. Some of them are from the same region and some of them from opposite ends of the country.
Indeed. And I think we're going to cross over to Colin down there on the infield. I believe they've got someone to talk to us.
Back to me on the infield. Isn't this great fun? Jared, Jay.
G'day, how you going?
What, is it Jared or Jay?
Jared.
Thank you. I got it right first time. I'm doing all right with names, aren't I, this evening? How wonderful is this stage? It's great fun, isn't it?
I grew up watching super special stages, early days of around Group A days and all that. And it's exciting to watch. First time being able to actually do an event like this where you've got a super special stage, you can go head to head with a car. It's really exciting to have the ability to have one car one side and on the other, and halfway through that run you're going, are you beating the other person? Are you not? It's exciting.
It's dead exciting and it's challenging as well. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy. When we did our walk around the track yesterday, it's very tight. Very, very tight, especially once you head away from the speedway track. It's one of those stages where there's not much to gain, but there is a lot to lose.
And that's what surprised me. The level of commitment of some of the drivers we've been watching so far is incredible, because you hit those walls, they don't move.
Watching Hayden being the first one out the gate, and he's near on clipping the outside walls as he goes into the back sections. I'm just sitting here baffled going, I'm not even going there.
It's accuracy of the highest level. Best of luck this weekend. Let's enjoy our next two cars on the stage.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, thank you, Colin. Phil Macquarie, Gavin Feast out here now. It was a very even start and very, very well put from a driver's perspective on what it takes to actually get around the course in one piece.
Please don't give out that commentator's curse again, Lance.
I know, absolutely. What are we here to do? What are we here to accomplish when it comes to being informative or implying anything but good luck? Well, I'm certainly interested as they come back through the main speedway entrance back onto the track. There is that anti-cut device that has been clipped and just slightly knocked over, but each time the cars come back through, they really are using every millimetre of the track, and I've got to wonder if they are finding that they really need to tidy things up. But as was pointed out by Jay, it's so much to lose when it comes to actually getting through this stage. The reconnaissance they did, they're trying to read that grip level and then understand what are they actually here to do. While they're certainly doing a great job of putting on a show, they've all got a very long way to go, another 190 kilometres before they end up here tomorrow afternoon for the finish.
With a couple of dark stages added into the mix tomorrow morning, Lance, which will add an extra challenge to those first couple of stages, won't it?
Yes, absolutely it will, and there are a number here this weekend that haven't done the night stages either in a long time or at all, and there are those that were at Southern Lights earlier this year that got a taste of the dark, and the unanimous verdict was, that was fun, we want more. So, Daybreaker tradition returns, and the next two cars about to line up. We've got to get...
with the Ford Fiestas of Dylan Thompson, who currently lives in Christchurch, and Jack Stokes, also on a Ford Fiesta.
As we've got the time of Phil Macquarie here of 1 minute 51.53 seconds. And Gavin Feast was a 1 minute 49.30 seconds. So the advantage for Gavin Feast. The 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗆𝗆 lads. And as you say, we've got Dylan on the line in the Ford Fiesta versus
Jack Stokes, also on a Ford Fiesta.
The two Canterbury lads.
The Stokes Motorsport family are quite well known, and in fact, both Jack and Robbie's father has competed in the Daybreaker Rally.
Yes, and Colin, have you got someone there of interest?
Now, back to me. We've already talked, haven't we, about the number of women co-drivers we've got. There are obviously, women driving as well here in New Zealand, but we only have one all-female crew this weekend. Mrs. Cameron, you are part of that crew.
Hi, how are you tonight?
I am blooming marvellous. I mean, does it get much better on a Friday evening than this?
No, not really. I've let my daughter know that she played rugby on this land, this ground, and won her Manawatu championship. So I said, here's another use, honey.
This is the best use for it, isn't it? It really is. Listen, tell me about the weekend you've got ahead of you and the car you're in, and what are the plans for the weekend?
To stay on the road, don't hit any concrete pillars.
That's a very, very sensible approach indeed. The car, which car are you in?
Our little Lancer, little Evo, the lolly lady car.
I've heard something about this. Tell me about the lolly lady, the legend of the lolly lady. What's the story behind them? Oh, well, lollies are sweeties in this part of the world, aren't they?
Would you like a lolly?
My mother always told me not to take lollies off strange ladies, but you don't seem that strange to me. Have you got any more lollies?
Thousands. If I see you, I'll give you a lolly.
Fabulous. I'm going to come and find you, don't you? Why, best of luck this week for your lollies.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you, Colin. Lolly lady Helen Cameron. That was a cracking start by Dylan Thompson off the line, and a very cautious exit into the car park, the horse gate exit to the track, whereas Jack Stokes was a little more flamboyant. And while it will be Jack's first time at this event, it certainly is showing there's a bit of youth versus experience happening here this weekend. But as both of the Ford Fiestas return to the track, it's obvious they're actually taking a cleaner return rather than the more flamboyant usage of the track of the others. So I guess that's probably more of the front-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive way of positioning the car on the track, but it also means they're well away from the pole line and that anti-cut, the device that's sitting there, that hidden little hazard that they wouldn't really be seeing or paying attention to, but is there ripe for the hitting and upsetting the start of their rally. How are we going to call that one? We really can't. We've got to wait for the official times on that one.
Yeah, that was very close. I think, if I was to call it, I think Jack might have had it ever so slightly.
Yes, and this is painful. we wait for the times. Here we go. We have times. Jack Stokes on a time of 1 minute 54.63. And Dylan, you're going to let us know who was Dylan.
And a time of 1 minute 57 for Dylan Thompson there in car 18.
Well, that's actually quite a difference. So very much a good, healthy lead by Jack Stokes with that one.
We now have another couple of Ford Fiestas lining up on the start line. Car number 20, Bryn Jones, and car number 21, Tim Mackesy, all the way from Dunedin.
Bryn and Tim, yes, these two certainly have some quality experience. Bryn has been doing very well, as has Tim. And it's great to see the Ford Fiestas out here. They're a very well-known car internationally on the rally scene when it comes to being the career pathway. And that's what this category of car is. It's that career pathway to the four-wheel drive cars that obviously are part of the Rally 2, the level that's playing for the top step of the championship. But what a great car these guys have to actually not just showcase what they are capable of, but collect their own little championship. And seconds away from the start. We know it is actually going to be on the second, but there's always that little bit of anticipation. Here we go. Up come the revs, launch control sitting there, ready, waiting to go. Now, what do you reckon? Bryn got a better start there. Tim first through the gate, both. We're trying to look in two directions at the same time, never works.
They are significantly quieter than some of the other vehicles, aren't they, Lance?
They sure are. We can actually hear ourselves think as well as speak now. That is helping. Thank you, guys. but it's a case of which way do you look first? Who's actually doing what? As Bryn's coming through to take his first exit out onto the main speedway pit area. And first taste, is he going to go left? Is he going to go right? Round the cable drum he went. Took the left line to go right. As Tim is threading through the chicane. And interesting, you're seeing a swept line there now, but in places because they cross over as they actually head for the next lap of the track and to the alternate obstacle, you could say. And also wonder too how much advantage their lights are this weekend. Of course, it's going to be necessary for the first stage or first few stages tomorrow morning. But the advantage out in the car park, perhaps not so much. And certainly Speedway is always run under lights. There's no issues there.
It'll be good practice for the co-drivers in particular who will have to read their notes in the dark tomorrow morning. Even though it's not completely dark here, it might be helpful for those that haven't done it before, of which there are quite a few.
Yes, absolutely. And that was very much advantage Bryn Jones for that one. And yes, there's so much too pressure on the co-driver to end up going right way around the course and the barriers. And so far, everyone's actually had a clean run. Well, we'll scrub the Brendan Reeves incident and just call that eagerness to get into the rally. But as far as the co-driver's role of navigating the driver through the course, everyone has been bang on. And we've got those times through. Tim 𝗥𝗱𝗄𝗏 on a 2-minute 2.1. Where did we get to for?
Car number 20 is a time of a 1 minute 55 seconds.
Interesting. 5 seconds the difference.
That's the biggest gap of the night so far, I think, Lance.
Yes, it's really actually making one think about how do they get such a big time gap advantage there. There is, again, just got to stop saying it, that there is so much to lose and nothing to gain. Yet, and clearly they are throwing everything they have at it. And on the line here at the moment, we have William Menzies from Danny Burke with 𝗥𝗱𝗍𝗆𝗆, the 𝗥𝗱𝗆𝗆𝗍 in the Mitsubishi Lancer. And on the opposite side, we have the Vanuatu car. Who have we got there?
Julian Linglet.
Yes, and Ben Hubin from up Northland. The first of our, well, no, not the first, one of our Vanuatu visitors. I can see another one. He will be next up on the stage. We're ready to count down to the next pairing.
We have 3 competitors this weekend from Vanuatu, don't we, Lance?
We do, yes.
And rallying in Vanuatu is significantly different to here.
Significantly different. It's actually a very fair question to ask, because you could wonder, hello, can't go that way. Now that's going to make it interesting as far as the crossover and the implications of, as the cars come back onto the track, who gives way to who. But Julian Linglet has lost a bit and / a lot of time there. Yes, he did squeak through. Okay, yeah, he was given...
so we were given a red flag, which means that the competitors must stop. And that might forfeit a time for car 23, but we will wait to see what happens with the clerk of the course.
Yes, this is a scenario that obviously they've been prepared for, but never expected to have happen. And of course, one that we will never want to see happen is if someone does actually get to a point where they can't complete the course.
So it looks like we might be lining up for a restart, potentially, to have a second go.
Now, wouldn't that be the fairest thing to do?
So I remember when I was at a rally in Vanuatu, Lance,
Now, this is an interesting story because, again, when you go think of Vanuatu and you visit there, rally isn't really one of the things you would expect to encounter.
No, and it wasn't. It was kind of out in a paddock, and it was almost like an autocross track. But given that it was such high heat, they actually weren't wearing any of the race suits or overalls that we might come to expect in a New Zealand rally. This is going back a few years, but there was no such road. The main island is actually not very big at all anyway.
Yes, I wondered if you were going to make that comment about the type of safety gear you wear when you're in an environment like that. Needs must. Main thing is that they are here this weekend. Everyone's fully compliant. Obviously, safety is a very big issue when it comes to being here in motorsport and ensuring that everyone gets home safe. And we're just waiting for the next minute to roll back round for the restart. We know that Julian Linglet will not be making that same mistake twice. He will be exiting stage right. But the question is, when they get out there, they have the option of going left or right around the obstacle. And it's interesting to see who takes which way they perceive to be the advantage. And is it viewed from, would you take it one way if you're on one side of the car versus the other, i.e. left-hand drive versus right-hand drive? And a clean start by the pair of them as they head out there. We hold our breaths. Are they going to make it? Well, we certainly know Julian Linglet got the exit right this time. He is back onto the speedway track. As William gets through the chicane, everything's clean and tidy.
It's great to see a Mitsubishi and a Subaru go head-to-head.
Yeah, certainly weren't they the days, and often is asked the question when those two Japanese manufactured giants are going to bring back a rally edition and resurrect the days of past where they were the car for the rally enthusiast. And as we get to the second time through the obstacles, once again, Julian's got a clean exit into the car park to get round that cable drum. Supplied by 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗆. Thank you very much to Sean and the team there. And a clean return back to the track.
Looks like Julian has a slight upper hand at this stage after his first hiccup.
Yes, I really wouldn't want to call it there at the moment, but I suppose it's going to be one or the other, isn't it? And William, see, that's interesting. He actually does take the other way around the cable drums. And it would be a very interesting question to ask later, and perhaps that could be a Colin Clark project to ask the drivers which way they think is the favoured line around those obstacles. Now we will await the times and rather than guess, make it official.
While we wait for those times, we have one of the other Vanuatu contestants now lining up. Nelson Law in his Mazda AP2, run by Force Motorsport. And in car 25, we have a Ford Escort, also from Vanuatu. So actually we have the two compatriots here competing head-to-head in two very different cars.
Yes, well, we'll certainly have Nelson Law, and that will be the Mitsubishi Lancer of Bruce Herbert out there, threading amongst the field. The times for that, car 22, William Menzies, a 1 minute 51.4. Car 23, Julian Linglet on a 1 minute 52.69. So rather close, half a second splitting, or actually nearly a second splitting those two, which is nothing when it comes to this stage. Certainly out on the longer stages tomorrow that would count for something, but at the moment not so much. So we have the Palmerston North local, the car dealer Bruce Herbert, former rally champion, multiple rally champion, out there now in his Mitsubishi Lancer versus the four-wheel drive car of Nelson Law. Nelson, the two Vanuatu lads in that car, they were also really looking forward to being here this weekend. The Daybreaker Rally was locked on their horizon, so they'll be very, very glad to be returning to these roads. And of course, they get to see it in its true style with a very early start tomorrow morning. Okay, Bruce has decided to take off now. Julian got a very good start. And no headlights on the front of Bruce's car, so this is going to be interesting to see how he navigates his way through. The lights are fitted to the car, they're just not on. And that's going to hurt Julian Langlet. He sent that anti-cut block flying. The team are attempting to get that back in position, or recover it at least. That was a rather hefty piece of concrete block that took a hit. Let's just hope it didn't do any damage to that beautiful car that, as you said, is prepared by Force Motorsport, one of the Mazda cars that team runs. He is getting very wide there, isn't he?
He is, and those anti-cuts are actually a lot heavier and harder on the gear than what they look like from our position.
You're right, and they are a concrete block. And interesting, Bruce Herbert, as he gets back around the cable drums this time, taken the opposite direction. So it would be a great question that we can line Colin Clark up to ask one of the drivers, which they really do think is the favourite angle. But Bruce really tucking the nose in there on the pole line of the speedway circuit, but a very clean exit as he heads out into the car park for the final time. Julian round the cable drums for his final time. Certainly not really a match there. Four-wheel drive versus two-wheel drive. Lights on versus lights off. But hey, getting to the finish is what it's all about. I think we can call that one. We know who the winner is going to be there, but who has the biggest smile? I would actually say Julian has the biggest smile.
He certainly seemed to enjoy it, given how he was chucking that car around the circuit, Lance.
It really did surprise me how much that Julian was throwing that car around. He was going for gold. And again, the nature of the circuit will be very variable. So there's a lot of trust and faith in knowing what the conditions are like. But we have the times through. Bruce Herbert on a 2-minute 1 second, 0.1. Julian Langlet, 1 minute 46.48. No surprises there, but a very good time. Now, while we wait for these cars to line up, again, a very special thank you to our commercial partners. Brian Green Properties, Harcourts AFC, who are the people behind the stage here this evening. Geartech, Palmerston North City Council and the Central Energy Trust Arena. Of course, the Manawatu District Council and the Rangitikei District Council. Critical in having an event like this operate. It's not all about being around the arena here this evening, as much as this is a wonderful opportunity to warm up for the cars and drivers and for fans. We can't see the weather coming now, so that's got to be a good thing too, but we'll bank these calm, clear, fine conditions and just enjoy them.
Indeed. Over on the far side, we have car 26 of Dave Strong with co-driver Rob Scott, both very experienced rally professionals here, Lance.
Yes, you could say they've been around since the dawn of rallying, but so has the car 25 Ford Escort of Shane Merland from Kapiti Coast. He has equally been around since the dawn of time when it comes to rallying. His name was brought up. And what a cracking start between the two in terms of the types of cars they have. Call it old versus new.
And for the first time, we hear that beautiful sound of a Ford Escort reverberating through the arena here.
Yes, and of course that is a rather unique sound to the Speedway circuit, to have the Ford Escort in full song. Dave Strong taking it very carefully as he exits through the horse gate and out into the car park area, while Shane Merland sails that impeccably prepared Mark II Escort towards the cable drums, firing it round, but very cautiously. And
has he stalled it?
He lost a little bit of time there, but he certainly wasn't. He's lost more than a little bit of time. You'd actually say he has either stalled or he has stopped. He has stopped past the exit of the cable drums. And that's surely, there we go, the red flag is out. And here he is, he's coming back on. Now the headlights of the car stayed on. So he's being shown the red flag too. And is he, so he's going to be pulling back up into the starting box. So Dave Strong is going to have to be given some instructions on what he does next. He's not going to risk taking a guess on which way to go. The marshals are there to give clear instruction on where to go. And the simple instruction was turn around. Well, Shane's car sounds okay. I did notice that the headlight stayed on for the duration, so if it was a stall, would have seen the lights dipping while he was trying to restart it. So we just wonder what that was about. Dave Strong, has he departed the arena?
It looks like I could see his car down the back of that big screen over there, but I'm not sure if we are rerunning the stage.
Hard to plan for every eventuality. Luckily, none of it has been because someone has hit something and caused an incident. So it looks like they are calling that heat, and they are both returning to the service area. And this will be a very interesting battle. We have the immaculately prepared car of 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗆 from Christchurch and Amy Kiley, who has a very long rally pedigree in there. Actually, not only as the driver, but in the navigator's seat with Canterbury's Grant Mara, who has done this event a number of times, along with many others. So it'll be the Toyota 86 versus the Subaru Impreza. Amy Keeley's lights come on. We count down to the top of the minute and the start of their run through the stage. The cars certainly are starting to thin out on the infield. Counting down. We really do need to get to the overalls of who is leading after this first 1 kilometre sprint around the super special stage. The Harcourts AFC motorcycles dash around the Central Energy Trust Arena.
No surprises, Lance, but Hayden Paddon is currently the lead of the rally overall with a time of 53.55. And coming up in second is Brendan Reeves.
Now you pause there. I think you've got a bit of story behind that one. It was you didn't really believe what you were seeing.
It was that I believe what I was seeing, but I was actually looking at the kilometres per hour rather than the stage time, which also tells an interesting story.
Okay, well, you're going to have to explain that one to us as we get underway with Amy's H6 Impreza getting a very clean start off the line. Equally too with 𝗥𝗱𝗆𝗆𝗆, but four-wheel drive versus two-wheel drive, there's always going to be that slight advantage in terms of traction. Very clean back onto the track for 𝗥𝗱𝗆𝗆𝗆. And Keeley returns to the circuit. Well, we call it a circuit, speedway circuit track. Certainly by the time the cars have swept off the loose, it will be a very hard, firm, almost tarmac circuit like underneath. And interesting, as Amy goes to exit here, very, very clean and tidy. And I've got to wonder how much of that is the experience coming from the co-driver's side to just say, we're just going to steer around here. We're doing more than just taking it easy. We really are taking it easy. So very close to crossover between Willie and Amy as one exits and one returns. But not close enough that either has to take evasive action.
But certainly Willie seems to be making up a lot of time here.
He certainly is making up a lot of time. But equally, we know that Amy, with that strategy, she is going to get to the finish. And here we have red flag out to hold Willie while... Yes, actually I was going to ask the question of looking for the drone footage to see if Amy did actually get through from around the back of the car park. She has. Now what's interesting there is Willie hasn't actually shot back round to do the same thing. He has just kept going. So that's going to create a little bit of confusion. This really is going to make it for a very interesting evening for officialdom while they work out the times for the competitors.
Indeed, we do have a top-class clerk of the course and all the assistants there working hard behind the scenes to make sure that this is as fair and as safe as it can possibly be. So I'm sure there'll now be a discussion with those officials to figure out what it is they're going to do, whether they'll restart or whether they'll get an assist time.
Yes, absolutely, and a very special thanks to all the volunteers, the officials that are a part of this event. It's all on a voluntary basis, and there's so much time and effort goes into actually making all this happen. Just a huge ups and credit to everyone who's out there standing on the circuit edge. They're having to communicate messages that come from the clerk of the course and the top officials. It's all on the fly type decision, but at the end of the day, it's all in the spirit of competition and abiding by very clear rules.
Indeed. While we wait for these next two cars to line up, shall we have a look at the top 10 from the special stage 1 overall? So we had Hayden Patton in first, followed by Brendan Reeve. So the two Hyundais there locking out the top two positions. They were closely followed in third by Ben Hunt in his 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗶𝗍, and in fourth place is Robbie Stokes in his Ford Fiesta. In fifth place, we have the young gun Zell Jones, also in a 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗶𝗍, followed by Hayden McKenzie in sixth. Rounding out the top 10 is Emma Gilmore in seventh, Nelson Law in eighth, Stuart Reid in ninth, and Gavin Feast in 10th in his Subaru WRX, Lance.
Yes, very interesting. Very interesting, given that this is the first stage. It is a mere 1.1 kilometres. But next up on the line we have Carl Robinson, formerly of Levin. He knows these roads oh so well. He will have been to Speedway here many, many a time. A Subaru man through and through, up against the Ford Proto of Pierre-Henri Brunet from, here's one of the Vanuatu lads. So we do have four-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive. But it's always this return to the track from the main pit gate that is interesting. How close they get to that anti-cut device, that concrete block, which we've seen two take impact here this evening. And Carl is known for being very, very quick, very, very smooth, very consistent, and he sure is showing all of that right now as he got through there with some fair pace. But as he goes through the car park and round that cable drum, he went to the left to turn to the right, and a very clean return to the track, giving himself some room. You could say he is finding a swept line. There is some grip there, but equally, you don't want to overstretch yourself there because these concrete barriers will not give.
Indeed. Although it seems that when those cars go into that turn, Lance, they tend to swing the car to the right and make the left turn. That seems to be the more popular choice rather than the opposite.
Yes, it is. Interesting you actually say that, because for a while there I was thinking it was 50-50. And it would actually be interesting to see which way Carl Robinson takes. He is taking the same way around this time. Maybe he has actually decided and just committed to that rather than trying something different, because we have seen that before. Oh, that was beautiful. So close. Oh, I can't wait to see the times for that one. So just recapping those times again, Lani, we obviously have Hayden Padden after stage one with a slender lead, but overall a rather interesting lineup.
So the times for Hayden Padden, 1 minute 36.8. Brendan Reeves, a 1:39.8. Ben Hunt, 1:42.8. Robbie Stokes, 1:43.8. And Zeal Jones on a 1:44.9. So there's not a lot in it, Lance.
Yes, very interesting. Very interesting. And on the line here we have now Ben Harding from Hastings, a former Manawatu, we'll call him local, in the RX7.
And Cameron Ross and Matthew Bauer in the Ford Fiesta. Now, Cameron Ross is a Targa champion, a tarmac rally champion, Lance, but they've recently made the switch to gravel.
And that's, we'll see what that counts for when you're on a speedway circuit. But the Ford Proto, these cars are quite popular, but not so much in New Zealand of late. So really always keen to see the Proto cars out on the stages. It's just another level of competition that drivers can actually afford to get themselves into and be at the upper level.
Indeed.
As we wait for the top of the minute, the countdown to the start. Absolutely no doubt there, that was a very clean getaway by the Proto. Ben Harding first out through the gate. Yes, he's just finding that the car has plenty of power and it will step out sideways if you feed it plenty of throttle. So his return to the track will be very, very measured. And George from Inspire You Media once again showing his skills as he zips underneath the pedestrian overbridge round the back of the venue, following the RX7 of Ben Harding through as he comes back out onto the speedway circuit, round through to the chicane. As we have Cameron Ross taking a very clean, tidy exit through to the same part of the circuit, round the back. And Ben taking a very tidy way around those cable drums this time compared to his first attempt. Very clean return back to the circuit, right down the middle, but gets up a little high on the exit and fires plenty of dust into the out.
I think that's the widest line we've seen through there all night, Lance.
Yes, you'll certainly where the marks, or the marks he's left, it's very obvious that he is all alone up there.
As the RX7 comes out again to go through the chicane, looks like Cameron Ross has that one by a relatively good margin.
Very close to a country mile, but as would be expected, to be fair, when you have a Proto model car versus a rear-wheel drive. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. All right. We'll just go around and keep going around. That was very close for Ben Harding. He just did a little turn off to the circuit. He must have just seen that anti-cut block sitting there on the track edge and decided, no, I will actually steer clear of that. That would have been very unfortunate if he'd run over that as he was trying to find his way out the track exit gate.
Cameron Ross has set a provisional time of 1 minute 46, which is right up there in the top 10, Lance.
Again, very curious to see how well these proto cars do on the Manawatu Rangitikei roads tomorrow. We haven't seen a lot of them over the past few years, so again, great to see them as part of the event here. And clearly, the pace is hot. They're up for it. And up next, we have Wanganui's Andrew Spear in the Mitsubishi Lancer, up with Brad Stewart from Dannevirke and Josh Alexander from 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗆. Another Subaru versus Mitsubishi battle. Andrew's Mitsubishi immaculately presented, as is the norm.
He hasn't got his headlights on though, has he? Hard to see from this angle.
He's just got the standard headlights on. He's not using his driving lights, which again is another interesting question to ask, how the drivers perceive it. Do they think that the lights have an advantage? We saw plenty earlier on that had full lights on, and it wasn't as dark as it is now. Personal preference, clearly.
Who's my preference?
Yes, very clean line by Andrew Spear as he exits there. Plenty of pop, but no bang when it comes to collecting the concrete barrier on the way out. And, he did just brush up against the anti-cut there. Only just brushed it. So he'll be remembering that. And no doubt, while it'll be fun, there is the co-driver's responsibility to keep that driver reined in, under control, but he does make a clean exit out. Now we'll note this time round he actually was one of the very few who took the right-hand way to go left-hand round the cable drum, but very clean exit back onto the track, getting a little bit high, a little bit like Ben Harding did on his return. He wasn't as wide out this time, as he goes back round the back of the grandstand here and around the little traffic island with a generator that lives in the middle. This is actually going to be a very, very interestingly even close one. And I don't think we're going to call it the Subaru versus Mitsubishi advantage or disadvantage. This is just a very genuine two competitive drivers in their cars. And he does actually take the same way around the cable drum as he originally. He's gone right, others have gone left. And, well, they're going to call that almost a flying finish. Andrew Spear by we'll use the term again, Nats Whisker, by a very, very, very slender margin. But, don't take my word for it, let's wait for the official times. Car 34, a 1 minute 51.62.
Car 35, 1 minute 52, Lance. You were right.
2.52. So that's, it was a little more than I was expecting. I thought it would be closer than that. But now this is going to be an interesting one. We have the Datsun 180B of 𝗥𝗱𝗆𝗆 local Jason Weld, with Bunnythorpe's Jeremy Sinclair in beside, and full lights on for a point of reference. And Jason will be up against Brendan Kentwell's Toyota Starlet. So we're going to say rear-wheel drive versus rear-wheel drive, but anyone knows that the Jason Weld Datsun 180B, one of two things are going to happen. It's going to be very spectacular, and we won't consider what the other thing that will happen, but it's still going to be very spectacular.
Now, the Toyota Starlet holds a special place in this rally with the Toyota Starlet Cup that will go to the fastest Toyota Starlet of the whole event. So this could be one of the contenders.
Yes, and he actually won it last year, and it was very, very, very special, being the inaugural winner of the Toyota Starlet Cup, a cup awarded by organiser Tony McConaughey. So we'll be very much looking forward to seeing how that plays out again over the next day. But the cup is up on the line, as off the line, the 180B of Jason Weld, and we were always going to expect he was going to make a clean exit through there. But it's the way he returns is what's going to be interesting. Anti-cut device, I would suggest moving out of the way.
It was fantastic to see how little grip he had as he came off the line in that Datsun.
That's what made me wonder, but yes, I think he's just figured out that maybe standing on the loud pedal there, he did have to take a second look at the chicane as he lined up. But there's a bit of dust being thrown up into, you wouldn't really want to be sitting right down the front row there. He is firing dust in, off the track up into what would have been crowd if they had chosen to sit down low. Wise not to be, they're standing up behind the row of seats. A clean return, albeit with plenty of the speedway surface being thrown out.
As we get cheers from the crowd.
Hardly a surprise. Not only is he spectacular, but being that local driver, he will have plenty of hometown support. As the Brendan Cantwell Starlet in its nicely prepared retro livery makes its final exit to the outfield. And Jason Weld opting to go. He lost a bit of time there as he took his way around the cable drums, but that's okay. It was minor. He pulled it up. It just didn't quite go around or pivot as it looked like he was going to. Now that was a very interesting finish.
I have to give extra points for flamboyancy in that Datsun. That was a fantastic watch to see how much he was throwing that car around and getting quite wide on the entry.
Well, that's exactly what he came here to do. He's always been known for that level of flamboyancy. So Jason Weld with a time of 1 minute 56.12 versus the Starlet, Lani, which is a time of
1 minute and 54 seconds.
So eyes weren't deceiving us. The Starlet did actually take the win. And lining up here now, we'll call it a couple of local lads. They're both from Wanganui, or Turakina/Wanganui. Paul Tulloch and Dan Kalpa. Rally boys from many, many years ago. Dan in the Subaru Impreza with co-driver Andrew Beebe, also from Turakina, while Paul Tulloch's got old mate Craig Strawn alongside in his Mitsubishi Lancer. As we wait for that top of the minute countdown. And up come the revs, off they go. That was a very, very, very clean start by Dan Kalpa. No, that wasn't Dan, that was Paul. Paul certainly knows his way around this track. But equally it was Dan, in the new model Impreza, he was first back. And these two guys spent many a year in two-wheel drive cars in their youth, now maturing to four-wheel drive, perhaps you could say. Paul Tulloch coming for his second exit through to the back of the grandstand, with George with the Inspire You Media FPV drone right up the back of him. Flying underneath that pedestrian overbridge, that's certainly one that takes some experience to achieve. But George is doing it like it's second nature to him. He very nearly stalled up there, 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗆, as he went for his exit round to the back of the grandstand. As Paul Tulloch exits into the speedway pit area, and he's taking the high right side to turn left around the cable drums, the Alf Downs supplied cable drums, and a very clean back onto the stage, and a very clean win by Paul Tulloch. He'll be very happy with that. Still, while there might be a couple of seconds advantage between them, that can all very easily disappear in the first few kilometres of the opening stage tomorrow morning in the dark. And up next, we've got a rather unique pairing.
Car number 40, Jared Parker, who actually hurt his hand at the previous rally at Southern Lights in the dark. So I'm sure he is looking forward to getting over the night or the early morning stages tomorrow. And on the other side of the track, we have car 41 of Paul Fraser in his Ford Escort.
Yes, and Paul's got plenty of rallying experience, a beautifully prepared Mark II Escort in the retro Massport livery. But Jared Parker, those boys, they always put on a great show. They're so enthusiastic, so keen on their rallying, and it shows in their level of preparation. The 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗆 car really does stand out, and all the social media and activities they do, they really do throw everything they've got at it. So let's just see if the same applies when they get to the start of the stage, but it'll be front wheel drive versus rear wheel drive as we count down to the top of the minute. Counting. Call that an even start, but certainly Jared Parker got a very clean start to his first attempt of the super special stage.
See, the Escort's gone very wide coming around that drum there, Lance. He got very close to those barriers.
Now this is what we've found with others, he'll be finding the grip limits when he gets the change of surface from the speedway, and where it'll be loose and grippy in some aspects, and then the tarmac of the car park area. But as Jared Parker takes his first exit out into the speedway pits, with Kyle Shears from Hornby and Christchurch telling him which way to go. Now he actually went for the go right, turn left around the drums. Paul's taking his first attempt of the chicane. All clean, looking good so far. The brakes on the little Corolla firing off plenty of sparks. And yes, you're absolutely right. Oh, actually, I thought he was going to go square for the middle of the cable drums. The way it pitched right, turned left, and ended up steering right at the middle of them. But he has been round, clean, returned. Jared, on the other hand, clean around the chicane. He was thinking about giving it a Scandi when he went to exit for the horse gate. Jared, very wide, very, very wide for a front-wheel drive car out into the main speedway area. And interesting, he actually went left this time and turned right, but back onto the circuit. Clean return up to the flying finish.
Jared will be stoked with that, I think.
I would say he will be well pleased about that.
But nothing quite beats the sound of that BDA escort.
Absolutely, absolutely, and particularly when you see it in the mass ball colours. For the rally enthusiast, it just evokes those memories.
We've now got the little blue starlet of 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆 coming out to line up. And Adam's wife, Jilly, is actually further down the field, so it's husband and wife competing against each other in the same event.
Yes, now usually they are in the car together. DAYBREAKER is the one, you could call it their home event. They are from down Wellington way, and they've chosen to actually go against each other. Well, are they really? No, they're not. They're out there living their best lives.
It's all about the fun. Adam and Jilly always have the biggest smile on their face. They absolutely live and breathe rallying and all of the little things that come along with it. But Adam's competitor here on this head-to-head is car 43, Rhys Musson, who's also from Wellington.
Yes, Rhys was a front-wheel drive exponent back in the day, and he's now in the rear-wheel drive Corolla. But the Fisher car, you've got to say that's retro colours, surely. He is in the DAYBREAKER retro theme.
Yes, it looks fantastic. That car is absolutely immaculate. And I'm really excited to see a Toyota head-to-head here, Lance, given that Toyota is supporting this event as well.
Yes, exactly. Thank you to Toyota Gazoo Racing New Zealand for being part of the event. And last night we had the welcome function out at Toyota New Zealand on Roberts Line. Very grateful to be part of the community there. As the two Toyotas get away, got to say Adam actually got a cracker of a start there. He won't quite have the power of the 86. And a very, very, very wide line, long way around the cable drums out in the car park for the 86 as he comes back on, but it's all nice and clean and tidy. This is a very interesting battle, I've got to say. Adam is absolutely steaming his way around. I think he's been preparing for this.
I think so. You can definitely tell the commitment and the way that he's kind of lining that car up to go through those narrow entry points. It just looks spectacular.
I actually held my breath there for a moment. I thought, is he going to pull it up in time to get through that gate? Not only did he do that, but it was very clean and tidy the whole way through. The exit out into the pit area and the way he lined up those cable drums, he got round there so clean and tidy. There was no going left, right. It was just right round he went.
Adam was really committed going into that second loop there, Lance. He lined it up nearly 90 degrees as he went into it. That was spectacular.
It's wonderful to see Adam having not only so much fun, but such a good, clean run. And let's see if he repeats the same exercise this time. Yes, he does. He just carries that momentum through the gate. He has that faith and confidence as he moves from one surface to the other, that it does hold its grip as he exits one and enters the other. And round for a very clean finish. Very spectacular win by the Starlet.
Fantastic run by both of those Toyotas with their both retro liveries.
Yes, and while we await for their times, it looks like it's going to be a very busy evening calculating some times. There has been a question mark over the Jeff Argyle time posted earlier and which way he went through the finish. So we'll see what the results of that are. Could be a bit of a long night for those in the control room working through the indiscretions. And up next we have a Mark I escort of Manawatu local Keith Stewart. Actually, that was an interesting way of warming up, Keith. Just jump over. There is a piece of line patch that's been put down on the circuit from, or to actually bridge between the main pit and onto the infield area. And Keith hit that with a bit of pace. Got a bit of a bounce on. And that, of course, is the reminder that this venue is being used on Wednesday for an NPC match. So the pressure is on to keep this place looking as clean and tidy as possible. And so far, so good.
While we wait for those cars to get to the minute before they start, car 42, Adam Fisher's had a time of 1:53.5, and car 43 of Reese had a time of 1:59.6. So quite a gap there between those two Toyotas.
Very interesting, and it was clearly obvious, but it's always good to actually see the times, and it'll be very interesting to see how this battle shapes up between two old mates, Greg Brown in the Honda over the far side, and Keith Stewart Yeti on the stadium side in the Ford Escort. Front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all pretty even.
Do you think car 44 could claim retro livery with that fantastic orange colour?
Yeti will claim any sort of livery. If you give him an inch, he will take the mile. That car has actually been around so many rally events. It is a historic car in its own right, and he actually does what he can to keep it as historic as possible, including he won't use cable ties, he'll use welding wire to hold things together.
That's definitely a Kiwi can-do type of make it work, isn't it?
Well, he was the man that purchased the Subaru Legacy, the Brian Watkins Subaru Legacy, and Brian said one day many years later that he thought he recognised the dust inside that car was some that he left from when he owned it. And a puff of smoke as the Escort gets off the line, but it'll be the Honda that will be an interesting one to watch, because you're going to expect that the front wheel drive car will be a little cleaner around, and equally Greg is running on park lights. So he's obviously had a good dose of carrots and relying on the speedway lights to show the way. I was going to say he was about to set it up and pitch it in, but he did so very carefully. Keith taking a bit of a high line there on his way past as he comes around to exit into the speedway pit area to go around. He went right to go left around the drums with full lights on as he returns back to the circuit, and both for a very clean first run. Yes, he certainly is having some fun in there.
And that's what it's about too, isn't it, Lance? This rally has quite a bit of history attached to it, but everyone that I've spoken to loves coming here to Manawatu to do the Daybreaker Rally.
They do, and Greg Brown, who's just coming in front of the stadium here now in his Honda, he said it was a very big, hard journey to be here for this evening. It hasn't been smooth sailing for him of late, so this is his release. It's also a relief that he was able to get everything together with son Sean in the co-driver's seat. So not only some family time, it's just recognition of the time and effort that they put into being part of this journey. So we all need each other, as far as from the competitors need the marshals, but if the marshals need something to watch, they need the competitors. And how are we going to call that one? I think we've got to call that an advantage, a front-wheel drive Honda. Certainly Yeti gave it everything he had.
Certainly did, but I think his experience with these roads and these stages will really come in handy tomorrow across those 190 odd Ks they have to do.
Yes, absolutely, and both those drivers know their way around these roads. As we have the next pair come up to the line. Call it a Toyota versus Toyota.
Starlet versus Starlet, even.
Now in front of us is the, call it recently debuted Starlet of Brian Terry. Brian being, he's now a fielding lad, a Manawatu lad. He has plenty of experience in the Daybreaker Rally. Back in the day, a very, very, very flamboyant driver. So great to see him back in a car that will actually suit his driving style. He's a lot of experience and expertise in composites, so you can be sure a lot of that car will be using that experience and expertise. And he is up against Taupo's 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆, with Johnny K in alongside, making sure he does actually get right way around. And Brian Terry with Brendan Olsen, a very long time co-driver, done plenty of Daybreaker events in his time. And off they go, a brilliant start by Brian Terry. And up high to the left, turned left round the cable drums for 𝗥𝗱𝗆𝗆. I think Brian's really, really enjoying this. He's really, really leaning on the back of that car and finding the grip level as he went round the chicane. And it's obviously very clear that that is starting to grip up now. But that was his first time through, so he'll just be starting to find where the grip is. And as he does change the surface out into the car park to go around the cable drum, like many others before him, he has gone right to turn left, which seems to be more of a rear-wheel drive thing. But Brian's taken a very wide high line as he returned to the circuit and went past the start-finish line to head in back round the back of the grandstand. Where equally Cam has taken the right-hand side to go high, turn left. And Brian Terry leaving some very S-shaped marks on the speedway surface as he returns to the track. So you can say the car is handling very well. It gripped up nicely. And once again, goes right to turn left. This is going to be very close, very interesting. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh, that one will be hard to call, Lance.
I'm going to stretch it and say it was a 1.5 advantage to Brian Terry.
Next up, we have car 48, 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗆, another local driver of the Manawatu. And car 49, Jeff Warren from Wellington. Interestingly, Jeff, outside of rallying, is actually a bit of an endurance runner. So actually spends a lot of time outside of the car as well.
Yes, it's interesting some of the other pastimes and passions these guys have. We had such an encounter at the Southern Lights where Anthony is a multi-event, wouldn't call them specialists, but to do a 100-kilometre endurance run, not such a big deal. So to do a 100-kilometre rally event, pretty easy. But just going back to the times of that last run, that was the Brian Terry car 46 had a time of 1 minute 55.79 versus the 𝗥𝗱𝗆𝗆𝗆 car 47 of a 1 minute 57.73. So 1.5 seconds, that was actually 2. I need to work on my my hourglass, get it a bit more accurate. So yet another four-wheel drive battle as we get to the thin end of the field. Still plenty of people here for the journey, and we thank you very much for being here this evening for the start of the Daybreaker Rally 2024. Both clean away as you'd expect. Both clean through the gate as you'd expect. We don't want anything different. Let's call it a both cleanly return to the track. Round we go. Let's go and do it all over again. Clear of the chicane. Happy days. Now, isn't it wonderful to see that the weather has not been true to the forecast? Let's just hope that we get another 24 hours like this. There's going to be some very happy people out there.
Yes, and it's great that all of our marshals down there are able to keep dry as well. For this event, we have over 150 different volunteers helping us out from a range of places. But thank you to a lot of the local schools who have actually stepped up to help us this weekend, including a sausage sizzle on one of the spectator points tomorrow. Oh, in the service park tomorrow, Lance.
Yes, well, actually at the spectator point as well, Colleton School out at Macbeth Road will be running a sausage sizzle fundraising for the school. So it's all part of a win-win for the community. They provide fuel for the fans and raise funds for the school, and it's events like this that allow them to achieve that. So your support is also greatly appreciated, because a long way around it supports the local schools, which supports our next generation. But certainly a lot to look forward to tomorrow.
As these cars cross the line, I'd say there was a couple of seconds in that.
Yeah, that's very good. That was a head-to-head four-wheel drive, but even so, it's the start of a very long event for these guys. So to be that close after what you have to say is a pretty technical and tricky start to the event, it's glad to see them get to the finish. And up next, we have the little Toyota Vitz of Nelson's Pat Norris.
We have a time through for Jeff Warren, car 49, of 2 minutes and 1 second. And car 48, 2 minutes flat. So there was only about 1 to 1.5 seconds in that head-to-head battle.
Yeah, still interesting, the time difference between them, when you consider that it is theoretically so evenly matched, but again, so much to lose. So in the Mazda MX-5, Callum McKenzie from Hastings. We've also got to say a little special happy birthday to co-driver Darren Fulton. Napier's Darren Fulton. Happy birthday, Darren. You won't hear us from in there, but just acknowledging your special day. What a way to spend your day. As we count down to the top of the minute, all lights are on. And that's 1300cc Vitz for you getting off the line. And interesting, there was a sister car to that one driven by another rally exponent, Mike Matheson, who very much promotes the 1300cc car as a stepping stone for a driver, for aspiring drivers or competitors, as a pathway before you commit to anything larger. Start at the start. And 1300 cc's is pretty much as entry level as you get. You get a lot of reliability for it. Ear-to-ear fun. And it seems like there's a little bit of a bump forming out there as they come from the speedway circuit out onto the infield pit area. And Pat Norris, his first time round, he's actually gone left to turn right around the cable drums. And that little car is going to be spending a lot of its time tomorrow with the accelerator pedal firmly planted to the floor. Waiting for the little 1300cc engine to catch up.
That was a bit close.
Yes, I wasn't going to look at that, but I was actually keeping half an eye out if the red flags were going to slow down Callum as while he waited for the bits of Pat Norris to exit from round the back of the grandstand. But that's out of the way now, and that wasn't required, so it's still a fair play event.
I would say that was perfectly timed.
I would very close to perfectly timed, absolutely agree. As Pat makes his way up to the flying finish. Advantage MX5. And I think even the drone had to put his brakes on there to avoid running up the back of the car. So again, a very special thanks to those that have been supporting this event organised by the Rally Race Group. Thanks to the Manawatu Car Club. Jeff Braid's been leading the charge there. Central ITM, PTS, Palms North Transport Solutions. That's Scott Myers, Jack Kirsten and the team there. Traffic Safe NZ. We've all mentioned Toyota Gazoo Racing New Zealand. Thank you very much to them and their hospitality at Toyota New Zealand headquarters last night. iSignIt, Freedom Print, Omni Graphics, Energy Plant Solutions, Dan's Co-Design, who have done all the branding and livery work for the event. McDonald's, Bulls, Fielding and Tie Happy. Very grateful thanks to them for the vouchers they've provided for the marshals. Red Bull New Zealand, who are providing some energy to our volunteer and competitors. Very special thank you to the residents that have obviously allowed these roads to be closed so that we can actually have this event happen and have these spectacular cars out there living their best lives. And equally, very special thanks to everyone out there and the volunteers, the marshals, the timing teams, all the little pieces of a very large chain that allow this to happen. As the call at the flag drops, lights out, and we are, and now? Who's holding it? There we go.
So car 52, Dean Astle of Hastings in his Toyota Starlet, with the bright red Mitsubishi Mirage of Gordon Diggy on the other side of the track.
Yes, Gordon Diggle from Wellington. He's spent many years out on the roads of the Daybreaker Rally, so great to see that he has returned with co-driver Jodie Seabright, also of Wellington, to relive and revive some of the adventures they've had at the Daybreaker Rally over the years.
And Jodie's actually an accomplished photographer as well. So
Yes.
if he's not co-driving, he's often out on the stages capturing the event.
Yes, he was very much a regular photographer out in the rally stages and days gone by. But like all things, living life becomes our primary objective, particularly when it comes to family. And so rallying isn't always part of the what you do every weekend like you used to do.
As the Mirage enters and turns left to go right around the barrel lance.
tell you what, coin toss really, isn't it? Eggs, you've got to wonder what's going through the driver's mind. Have they preempted which way they're going to turn, or do they get there and play any, mini, miny, mo?
As they turn in for their last loop before the finish. The Starlet going the opposite way this time.
And while we're lining up for the flying finish, it's the Starlet. The Starlet, the leader. And overall, just recapping, who's hot at the top, who's leading the rally.
In first place, we have Hayden Paddon in his Hyundai i20. In second, Brendan Reeves. Third, we have Ben Hunt in his 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗍𝗍. And in fourth, we have Robbie Stokes in his Ford Fiesta. And rounding out the top five is the young gun Zell Jones in his 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗍. And in sixth, we have Hayden McKenzie in his Toyota Yaris. In seventh, we have Emma Gilmore in her Citroen. In eighth, we have Nelson Law from Vanuatu. In ninth, we have Cameron Ross, the tarmac specialist, in his Ford Fiesta Proto. And in 10th, we have Stuart Reid in their Mitsubishi Mirage AP4. So a real mix of manufacturers in that top 10, Lance.
What a very, very, very big mix of results there. That's almost like a licorice all sorts. But again, putting that into perspective, that's a very small percentage of the whole overall journey. They've just had not even a warm-up taste of what's actually ahead. And of course, this isn't representative of what the roads will be like out there, but all good experience for the co-drivers, for the drivers, systems check, get things all bedded in before they actually go to bed and dream about doing it all again tomorrow.
Yes, and full results are available on chrissport.co.nz, and we will be bringing live updates, including timing results, on Rally Radio tomorrow, won't we, Lance?
Yes, absolutely. The Rally Radio service continues, and of course you can stay abreast of the information through the Rally Race Group website page, and of course social media on Facebook, Instagram. Get a follow in, get a like. And a very, very interesting entry/exit for each of them.
Yeah, I think car 54 there was a little bit hard off the line. Almost looked like he struggled to get some grip there as he took off.
Hard off the line and then backed right out of it. But that's okay. There's a whole
The
lot
car
of
it's-
seesawing going on there by Nick Stewart.
Yeah, the car itself actually sounds a little bit sick, Lance, that Ford Escort. I wonder if he's having some sort of issue and if that's why his start wasn't as strong perhaps as some of the others.
Well, he'll certainly be grateful to using this first special stage to actually find that problem out before he gets out into some of the long stages tomorrow. And of course, one of the longest one is the, we'll call it the penultimate Ridge Road, which will lead into the back of Pahongana, the big long stage that will bring the cars back here to the arena for the ceremonial finish tomorrow afternoon. And I was going to say, steady on there, George. You just about had your drone in the back of a Ford Escort. But we know George is better than that, and that was just all part of the show.
As car 55, Nick Stewart in his Toyota Corolla lines it up just as the Ford Escort of Murray Percival comes out.
Now he's just realised there has been a navigation error there, and that's going to be another interesting one to actually compute, because he could have said that I paused because I thought the other car hadn't come through. And so he has done potentially the right thing here and stopped while the...
So car 54 was red flagged, Lance. And
Yes.
I believe that's because of the tight timing there.
Yes, understandably so.
I've noticed that Ford Escort, the headlights weren't turned on earlier and they've just flicked on now. So I wonder if he is having some sort of issue there with that car.
Yes, that's right. The headlights are on now. But I'm pretty sure due to that navigational issue that will now be abandoned.
While we wait for the organisers to resolve this, if you did miss the signing session today in the Palmerston North Square, you can catch another driver's signing session tomorrow at Repco in Fielding from 10:30am.
That's right, another great opportunity to see the drivers collect that autograph, snap a photo, snap a selfie, but catch them while they're actually having some downtime and get some quality time with them.
We
probably aware of some of the promotional activities the drivers have been doing over the past day. Hayden Padden doing the winter ride to school promotion yesterday, taking a young Jimmy to school in his Hyundai, and then being not only given permission but actively encouraged to spend a little bit of time on their grounds showing the school what he's made of, with the headmaster in the passenger seat. Very, very special, and a big ups and thank you to Palmerston North Boys High, the team there that not only allowed that to happen, but endorsed it, gave the kids a thrill, gave us all a thrill, gave us a bit of a scare too at the same time, because we're all looking at each other going, are we really allowed to do this? But they absolutely made it work and happen. And a special thank you to the groundsman, who had only freshly mown that patch of grass that Hayden went and tore up, but his attitude was, she'll be fine, I'll roll it, mow it, be good as new, and grass will grow back. So thank you very much, Palmerston Boys High.
Isn't that fantastic? And if you do want to see that footage, head to the DAYBREAKER Rally on Facebook and you'll be able to watch it there. Or if you're on Instagram, Rally Race Group, you'll find some fantastic footage there of some of those prize winners and the grass at Palmerston North Boys High School. Lance.
Yes, and obviously those marks are going to be there for a while, but I'm sure the spring weather and spring flush will see that grass come away pretty quickly. And the marks that were left by Hayden Padden will be eliminated.
We've now got the Little Evo with Mike Cameron and Helen Cameron, also affectionately known as the Lolly Lady, taking off for their first round.
Yes, and that's... I had to pause on that one. I was going to say, which way is he going? That was a very interesting line round the cable drums. And pitched against him, Chris Clark from Levin in the BMW with Graham Robbo Robertson as co-driver. And red flag is out, okay.
But Mike continues anyway.
But he does continue. Right. Anyway, the BMW, which Chris was well known for driving a ute, cut down ute. Now they actually have held the red flags out and tried to stop. No, okay, right. We're all confused. Let's just call it. We are all confused. There is a held red flag there and there is a held red flag there. So that's both sides will stop. They have come back up to their respective start positions.
So while we wait, Lance, so that little yellow Mitsubishi there with the Lolly Lady, if you're a marshal and you're standing out on the sides of the roads tomorrow, she will throw lollies to say thank you. It's her little way, I suppose, of saying thank you to all the people that sit out there in the timing crews and the stage marshals. And that's what she's become known for. She even has a special bag that she fills up for each rally, which is kind of a cool little thing for her to do.
Yes, you're right. It is a passion that not only are they passionate about what they do, they're passionate about thanking those that are part of the journey that allow them to do what they do. And here we have a clean restart with Chris Clark actually out through the gate, Mike Cameron out through the gate. Which way is he going to go this time? Well, he actually went the same way. He went left to go right around the cable drum. Clean return to the track. Now we're going to see what happens this time. Is the Chris Clark BMW going to make it back out before the Mitsubishi? And he did, absolutely, plenty of room this time. So that actually, there was obviously a problem last time round. It's round in behind the building, we didn't really get the full story.
But that BMW is immaculate. It's looking very sharp.
Yeah, certainly a labour of love in that car to actually have it so well presented. And the little Evo potentially getting a push by the drone as it gets fed through the chicane. As the BMW comes back round to get back through the gate and go around the back of the circuit for what will be their second official time, third time in total.
He hasn't popped out yet.
No, he hasn't. Yes, okay. Well, that was incredibly close. The red flag is back in. No, the red flag is out. Okay, well the BMW continues. We're all guessing. The red flag is in. The red flag was out. They're going again. No, they have actually been through the finish. Well, that's going to be a very interesting one to judge. And we're down to the last pairing of cars. So this will be the last two that go head to head. We have Mark Rutherford from Lower Hutt in the FXGT of Andrew Lowe and Ian Barr. Andrew from Bunnythorpe, a very well known rally mechanic for many a championship driver, taking his little, call it daily driver, for a quick tour of the speedway track. While on the other side we have Lower Hutt's Mark Rutherford and co-driver Kylie Cotton, a Palmerston North local. So yet again, Toyota voices Toyota. The crew getting their time cards, last minute instructions as they start their first special stage of the rally. Clean away the FPV drone, taking a full circuit, a full lap of the little Toyota Corolla of Mark Rutherford as he gets off the line, chases him round the cable drums. He comes back out onto the speedway track. Clean, tidy around. Now wait the FXGT of Andrew Lowe. Yes, plenty of room, plenty of time. Round the chicane. Lining up to get through the pit gate. All lights on. Which way will he go? Will he go left? Will he go right? I think he's still deciding. He has gone left to go right. Figure that one out if you can. As predicted, clean back onto the circuit, but there certainly is a bit of a cat and mouse game going on here. Not only is it Toyota versus Toyota, versus 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆𝗆. Alright, we have a red flag holding car 59 while car 58 comes out. How's that going to impact the event? Alright. He has been sent on, the Kia has been sent on his way around. So I'm guessing that will be a called time for Mr. Rutherford. While Andrew Lowe, he's going same way. He goes left to go right round the cable drums. And he's proceeding while Mark Rutherford gets held back by the red flag. Andrew comes through for the flying finish. Okay, and one solitary car left.
Which is 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆 of Wellington, with a local co-driver from Palmerston North, Kylie Cotton.
Kylie Cotton, you're right. I actually mixed up the co-drivers. My apologies, Mark. You've got Alan Groves next to you, not Kylie Cotton.
Car 58, Andrew Lowe, has a time of 2 minutes 12. While we await the officials' instructions on what they're going to do.
Yes, yet another instance for the officials to test the various scenarios they've actually had to compute and encounter for this opening special stage of 11 for the 2024 DAYBREAKER Rally, powered by Brian Green Properties at the Central Energy Trust Arena for the Harcourts AFC Super Special Stage. And of course, overall, Hayden Padden laying down a time that no one came close to realistically. Was that to be expected? Well, yes, but at the same time, there's a long way to go. Still 10 special stages ahead. The longest being special stage 4, Pahuanui, tomorrow morning, 35.48 kilometres.
So as Jilly lines up to have her first run through this super special stage, it looks like they're going to rerun the Ford car of Mark Rutherford.
Yes, it looks like the car does get to restart. And again, very obvious, the retro livery of the 𝗥𝗱𝗶𝗆 car matches the same pattern / style of that of her husband's Starlet. The retro thing really does have them.
And I think this Jilly, Car 60, is our only all-female crew this weekend. There's quite a few females scattered throughout the field, but Jilly is a very big supporter of women in motorsport, so it's fantastic to see them as a woman pairing here today.
And what we thought was going to be a single car run is actually going to be a dual car. However, now what is going to be interesting to see is if Jilly does manage to get back around and out onto the track before Mark Rutherford comes through, and he is getting close. Out, the red flag is poised, and it is out. He'll be saying, "Oh no, not again." As Jilly wonders what to do next, keeping going is going to be a good idea, and he is being, I think Mark will not be favouring being on that side. 2 missed stages for him, or 2 attempts. As we wind down to the last competitive car across the stage. Thank you all very much for being here this evening, and certainly look forward to seeing all and more back for the super special stage tomorrow afternoon. starting at 4:24, but the action will be from 3:30 p.m.
And keep up to date by following DAYBREAKER Rally on Facebook or on Instagram Rally Race Group. We will bring you coverage throughout the day tomorrow ahead of the Super Special again tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you very much, Lani, for being here, one of the many volunteers who are part of the event.
Looks like we absolutely nailed it with the rain.
Yes, that's a word I was going to steer well clear of. Yes, look, the weather will be what it will be, but very pleased to have enjoyed this evening in fairly pleasant conditions. Calm, dry, perfect way to start the 2024 DAYBREAKER Rally powered by Brian Green Properties.
So Gilly has crossed the line there as our last car.
And that brings to an end the first stage of the DAYBREAKER Rally 2024. Thank you very much once again. Keep up to date as the event kicks off again. First car leaves here tomorrow at 4 a.m. That will obviously be Hayden Padden. And then the journey will continue. We look forward to seeing you either out on the stages or back here tomorrow afternoon to see who does actually win the 2024 event. Until then, thank you and a good evening.
The latest in rally news from here and around the world. R2G Rally Radio.